In example number 3 from section P5, we're going to try to complete the square. So that last example that we did, we already had squares on both sides of the equation of the equal sign, right? So now for example number 3, they're going to give us it's not going to be so pretty. We're going to have to do a little bit of work to complete the square. Now this is probably the hardest part. So to complete the square, in other words, we want to take the square root to get the answer. So we want to manipulate the equation in such a way that it looks something like this, right? Something, ax plus a constant squared equals another constant. Now the way we do that, first thing you want to do is minus the 17 from both sides. Get that constant out of there. So I'm going to say 4x minus 20x, and then just put like an underline there, equals negative 17. Well, the problem is in order to get ax plus b squared, I got to get rid of that 4 that's in front of the x squared. So how do I do that? I have to divide everything by 4. So I'm going to divide by the leading coefficient, and that will give me x squared minus 5x, leave a blank spot, equals negative 17 over 4. To make a perfect square, I'm going to take this number right here, negative 5, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say negative 5 over 2 squared. And let me write that in a darker color so you can see it. So what I'm going to do to complete the square, I'm going to take that number, negative 5, I'm going to put it over 2, and then I'm going to square that. So on my very next line, I'll have x squared. But remember, whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other. Okay? So when I say negative 5x, when I square that, a negative times a negative becomes a positive. What's 5 times 5?
25.
25. What's 2 times 2?
4.
4. So I had to add 25 over 4 on this side. I can do that as long as I do it on the other side as well. That's a legal move. Remember, whatever we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. So when I plug this in here, remember, I've got to add that on the other side as well. Alright, so now what that does for me is on this side, and you could do the math if you want to, that gives me x plus negative 5 over 2, that quantity squared. And you could just put minus, you don't have to do the plus negative, is equal to whatever this stuff left over is. Now what is 25 minus 17? Eight over 4, right? What's 8 over 4?
2.
Huh?
2.
2. Does that make sense? So this becomes, if you add that up, it's 8 over 4, and if you reduce it, it's 2. You guys with me so far? So now what do I do? Do I have it the way I like it? Yep. So now I'm going to take the square root of this side and the square root of this side. I get x minus 5 over 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2. Again, I'm going to separate those, and on this side I'm going to say x minus 5 over 2 is equal to the square root of 2, and then x minus 5 over 2 is equal to negative square root of 2. And so you're going to add 5/2 to both sides. And so your answer should be, if you were to write them out as a decimal, x is approximately 3.91, and then this one would be x is approximately 1.09. Okay? Any questions on those? Yes.